Hello everyone, this is Simon, Tribal Roots, Uganda. We are fixing Africa. We are live in the studio. And just like I always tell you, thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for commenting. We like to see you comment more and more. And most importantly, subscribe, tell a friend, whatever you're doing, please watch with us, comment, give us your view, your feedback. It's the reason we keep progressing and we keep improving. And above all, have a great evening as you're watching with us. Get your tea, as I always tell you, get your cup of coffee, get your juice, get your drink. Just enjoy with us. Tribal Roots is here for you. We are fixing Africa together. Not just me, but all of us are fixing Africa together. In the studio, it's yet an exciting session. This time round, I have two people I have hosted. And guess what? We are going to go in-depth analysis about climate change. And I have two people that we are going to be interacting. And you know them. I guess you'd love to hear what they say. So, back to my people. Hello, everyone.
Hey.
You can introduce yourselves, please. Once again.
Okay, my name is Alina Zahir from the Tribal Root Studio. I'm happy to be hosted inside the Tribal Root Studio where I work. Exciting.
My name is Derek Baraza. It's always a pleasure to return. And thank you so much for hosting me.
Yeah, thank you so much. Just like I told you, we are having an exciting topic. And the other thing I wanted to tell you is these are people who are part of Tribal Roots. Just like Alena said, she's part of Tribal Roots. You are part of Tribal Roots too. Specifically, I am Simon, the coordinator of geopolitics. And you know, climate change is the topic we're going to cover. You know, climate affects everything. It affects the environment, it affects the economy, it literally affects everyone, farmers, and if it affects farmers, it affects our livelihood economically, and also it's the climate that directs us what to produce, how to produce, and what to eat. And the biggest exports that we have in Africa is agriculture. So climate change is a sensitive matter. So we are going to talk about this. And I think I will start with Mr. Derek, then I come to Alena. What do you see? What do you really see? And what do you think about climate change? What is really climate change and does it exist anyway? Thank you.
I believe that is a question that we should have answered a long time ago. And actually, I mean, it's so absurd that we actually know that climate change is happening, but we keep hiding away from it. On the backdrop of the COP21 conference, I think last year around October in Scotland, Glasgow, on the backdrop of all the glitz and the glam, all the beautiful sceneries and presidents having to burn fuel to go attend that conference, businessmen, sportsmen, climate change enthusiasts and activists. I mean, I feel like we are flogging a dead horse by actually trying to pretend like we are answering the concern of climate change. So I think astoundingly we have to say that climate change is evident and imminent. It's happening all across the globe. And despite all the good English spoken in Scotland last year and little action that has been implemented up to date, it's really a serious concern for the whole planet. I mean, as long as we have locust invasions in East Africa, we have longer dry seasons. Last year, I think, if you can remember, we actually had a very, very unprecedented long dry season as far as from May to September instead of the normal July to June to July. I mean, there's a real serious concern that, yes, we are burning up, and if you don't watch it, it could actually get worse. Meteorologists and climate change experts have told us that by around 2050 or 2060, global temperatures will have ascended by 2 degrees. So I think if we keep hiding away from the fact, all the Trumpists and all those people that keep saying that maybe, I'm not trying to go political or anything, but people who think that climate change is a fallacy, it's a hoax, should actually wake up. It's a very real concern. The price of tomato, I'll tell you, I'm a serious tomato lover, but at the start of 2021, a kilogram of tomatoes was $0.9 US. By the end of the year, or rather the end of the dry season around September, the price of a kilogram of tomatoes on the market price estimate of the whole global economy was about $3 US. That is very painful to tomato lovers like myself.
Yeah.
And
Okay.
other people out there. So I think this thing is having far-reaching concerns. It is really penetrating deep to every fabric of society. And if you don't watch it, our planet is at the verge of what the astrologists actually call extinction, serious extinction.
All right. Thank you so much, Mr. Derek. I know you are a good tomato lover. You have segregated us, the orange lovers, but we shall cope up with that in time. Well, I wanted to also ask Alina this question. Just like Derek has said that there is little being done about the climate change, yet it's a health concern. As young people, what can we do? Should we sit back and we watch? What can we really do? Thank you.
Thank you so much, Simon. Once again, glad to be here on this show. It's the Tribal Roots, everyone should know that. So, what can young people do about climate change? First and foremost, I would also like to make this statement and say climate change is not a hoax, as we have seen many politicians call it. You don't get to see the floods we never saw in the past coming to areas where they've never been and think that's really normal. You don't get to see there's something that's been happening in Uganda, I think in the eastern part of Uganda, in Bududa, the landslides. And then also we have also seen the encroachment that's been happening on the forests, like the Mabira forest and other forests around the country. Like when you lose that, you're definitely encroaching the ecosystem. And I believe so much that our survival depends on the existence and flourishness of the ecosystem, which feeds us all with life. So we really have to maintain that plant ecosystem for us to survive, for the animals to survive. So the prolonged dry seasons as well, and of course the reduced yields for the farmers, and also the soil. Everything happens in unison. Like you don't see like the soils have been destroyed and don't think about climate change. It of course is a part of that. So as young people, really being in the knowledge that this is the situation, this is our situation, we have to keep our voices up first and foremost. And not just that, we also have to take measures to make sure that any kind of destruction that's coming to our environment, we are aware and we are ready to take action. I would actually think it would be prudent to say young people should get involved in massive tree planting. And because we all should know why we need this, what are we protecting ourselves from. Also remembering that if they are destroying the industrialists and people who are encroaching on those areas we think should be preserved, they're probably making money, or they are looking at the money side of the coin. But the future stares at us, and we don't know how the future will look like for the young generations and those coming after us. So we just cannot shy away. We cannot say this is not ours or this is not our concern. We have to do everything in our means to make sure every day, as we say, fixing Africa, we really got to fix our environment.
Well, thank you so much, Alina. Of recent, I watched a video where it was a vehicle that carries timber, and on it there was a label attached that plant more trees, and it was something that was all over social media, and people were laughing about it. I would rather see it as something which is a concern, because if a vehicle which is carrying timber, or its work is to carry timber, it has what's called plant more trees, I would see it laughable, and we laughed. We didn't take it serious. What exactly are we doing? Are we relaxed? Are we seeing this as a health concern? Are we minding about the future, or are we not aware that the future is coming and it's a terrible one? Mr. Derek, align me on that.
I think that was absurd in the first place. Though it's also ironical in a sense for loggers to actually encourage people to plant trees. Anyway, I think it's more of the economics of trees and trying to have a continuous supply chain for themselves. But also in the bigger picture, I believe that we have to, instead of making this a pretentious game of inaction and action, I think we have to sit down and understand that climate change is actually backbiting and it's a reality. Something I actually didn't tell you before is in Uganda particularly, and in most parts of this region, last year, if you can remember, there was a grasshopper. I don't know, there's the usual national grasshopper month or something like that. And for the first time, we actually realized that Uganda did not have grasshoppers. The grasshopper, I don't know, something like that.
Should we or should we not thank God?
No. I mean, the grasshoppers are a delicacy in this part of the world. I don't know if wherever you're watching from, but grasshoppers are a delicacy in this part of the world, and they are shortage in November of every year. It's something that was unprecedented. It has never seen before. But for any climate savvy human being to understand that, they will have to tell you that something is wrong with the ecosystem or the climate itself. Now, telling you all these things under the backdrop of something I told you before, the COP26 rather, they feel that the whole globe is trying to forget a serious reality, a serious concern of climate change. A case example is the fact that we have world leaders that were preaching a lot of good gospel on the microphone that actually had to ban fuel jets to go to Glasgow. I feel like we are having a pretentious breed of leaders. There are serious gaps in policy and implementation of policy in regards to climate change. And like you said, issues of logging and delogging really need to be addressed. When you have people like the embattled Prime Minister of Ethiopia, Abiy Ahmed, being recognized by the international community for tree planting, and the great Wangari Maathai of Kenya being recognized for tree planting. And when you go to school or museums or all these heritage centers, nobody gets to talk about them. I feel it is a loss or failure or shortcoming of our generation. People are supposed to safeguard the climate. I will tell you that climate change is as serious as having to raise the body temperature of a human being by a degree or two. If I increased your temperature by a few degrees, you'd actually have what your doctor would call a fever. Sure, give you an aspirin for that. And sometimes the aspirin may work or it may not work. So I believe that is the clear synopsis, typical pattern that is happening all over the globe. So, and I feel unless we address it, our situation of our planet and as a species is at the verge of serious extinction. It may happen in 100 years, it may happen in 200 years, or 1,000 years, but definitely with this trend, it's going to happen.
Okay. Thank you so much, Mr. Derek. You talked about locusts. I'm very sure it hurt Alina a lot because she looks like she's a very good lover of locusts.
Rather grasshoppers.
or grasshoppers.
Yeah.
Okay, I reversed my statement. But did grasshoppers come? Did you enjoy grasshoppers?
For the record, I don't enjoy grasshoppers. I don't eat them.
Okay. So now we know one of the people that have been praying for locusts and grasshoppers not to be seen. Well, we can continue. The other question I wanted to ask Alina is, where should we take the blame to? Should we say the policymakers or the government policy is not good enough? Should we say meteorologists are not doing their part, or they are underfunded, or maybe the researchers are not being funded? Should we say it's up to us that we do not implement? I mean, because it's us who also cut trees, the local citizens. Where should our tears go to? Where should we put the biggest blame to? Thank you so much.
You are welcome. I won't even say the biggest blame going anywhere. This is a collective effort. Everyone is affected. It doesn't really matter which position or which society you belong. Everyone is going to be affected by climate change, from the lowest levels to the highest. Everyone somehow is guilty. I have seen villages where people burn wood. They burn trees to have charcoal, and they do it on a very massive scale. And I've also seen something else in most towns in Uganda. Wherever you go, you're going to find disposed plastic wastes everywhere. Who does that? The local communities. So before even you can take the blame to the leaders, you know what we are doing in our communities, which doesn't require our leaders to be around to tell us the right thing. What the plastic is doing to the soil, everyone needs to know. When you start retaining the water that's supposed to be going into the soil. And also, there are very many other ways we could say, like, this person is also destroying the environment. Now let's talk about the top people who when they encroach forests. Why? They want to set up factories. They want to do things like that. They are also to blame. So at the end of the day, each one of us has a stake in making sure we either fix this or we shy away and then get destroyed. So the leaders definitely have an upper hand because they have the power. If they said this has to stop, it would stop. If they brought us good policies, those policies would work. But it also looks like it is a failure on their part, on the approach they have, or maybe they are reluctant somehow to take the right steps, especially seeing the fact that they are also a part of the people destroying the environment. So at the end of the day, the blame game is not going to help anyone. Each one of us has got to do what they must do. And then for our leaders, I always tell people that our leaders fail all the time because of us. It's not like our leaders are really the worst people. We are the ones who vote them in power, and we are the ones who make them work or not. So in Africa, let me talk about Uganda in particular. We the electorate, always ask the wrong things from the leaders. I bet you won't go to any rally and you find people asking the leaders about climate change or even addressing anything to do with climate change.
Sure.
In most of the villages, the local people will ask for a soda and a piece of soap. So if they can't even talk about the very things that affect them, let's say like education, schooling, and health, how are they even going to speak about climate change? So we have a problem with people being ignorant or not being awoke enough to know exactly how they are supposed to make their leaders work for them. And this all goes back to the level of development we are, or let me even call it civilization. When people are not able to articulate their situation, they won't be able to ask for the right thing, let alone task the leaders to do the right thing. Very important.
Thank you so much, Alena. On the record, first of all, I want to tell you that Tribal Roots is one of the advocates of tree planting. We're one of the advocates of good climate. we really wish to see countries, regions, places having good climate, farmers enjoying from the good climate. We really want not to see disasters from poor climate. So if you are also one of them that really advocate for good climate, you are a person that we are looking for. Please, you can even put your comment, what you're doing in your community, what you're doing in your country, what you're doing in your locality to make sure you bring climate to normal. You may not be a policymaker, but with your small land you're having, what are you doing with your small land, or what are you doing with your neighbor's land? So make sure that you comment to us, tell us what exactly you're doing. My next question goes to Derek, but before you get to it, also you tell us what you have done to your community. Then after telling us what you've done to your community, you tell us now that Alina has told us that it's effort that's not just individualistic. It's both leaders. It's us. It's everyone. It's an effort that is supposed to be called all together from all the circles. So since it's a global concern, since it's a continental concern, since it's not a concern for just my family, your family, but the whole world at large, where should we start from? Should we start from down? Should we start from up? Should we start from policymakers, or we start with ourselves for the immediate reduction of this disaster that's yet to occur, and it has been occurring. We've been putting into the unconscious so much. Thank you so much.
Honestly, I think this should start from everywhere. It should not start from any particular direction. I want to tell you for a fact that the energies that are put into advancing climate change may actually be out of commission or omission. The things that we do and the things that we don't do. So basically, I believe there are people that might be polluting the environment, but the people also not doing anything to save the environment.
Okay.
And there are those who are the onlookers. So I believe, just like the question you asked me anyway, what I'm doing, I believe in failing to do some things, I'm actually contributing to a better planet.
Okay.
If we are having a system whereby polythene is an alternative to degradable waste, and we have people that are comfortable with polythene and won't say anything, I believe we can do something about that by either changing the pattern or anything else. But anyway, I want to say that, and this goes to the question you actually gave me about where really the problem might be. I think I would diagnose the problem in our planet right now, and particularly among young people, that we are having people turning climate change into an activist crusade, just to gain cheap political points and maybe be seen. From one corner to the other, I believe that people are talking about climate change just to seem pretentiously intelligent, or I don't know, something, because maybe they feel at the end of the day they would get some good kudos and political clout or something like that. As a country and as a continent, I think we have to get to the levels of countries like Germany that have actually involved serious issues, agenda like climate change, into the fabric of their politics. In Germany, for example, in the recent election, you saw there was a Green Party, Green Movement, something like that.
Yes, I remember.
And it was among the top 3 parties in the country. They just concluded the election for the chancellorship. So I believe that we as Africa, in the case that we may not be able to contribute, because actually as a fact, Africa is we don't contribute much to the pollution of the planet. Our industrial levels are very low. We don't have much that we emit, but we actually suffer most because we are the farmers, or we are the ones that are very prone. We don't have disaster relief measures in place. So we actually the ones meant to suffer most. So I actually believe we have to contain the situation by instituting this agenda into our politics and policy, for that matter. It may not be really a blame game for the politicians at play or what, but like you said, this thing has to be cultivated from top to down to the back front. We have to understand that this should be started it can be a movement or it can be a party. The fact of being a movement means that anybody can start it, not necessarily your leader or anything. If it's planting trees or what, we need to appreciate this and appreciate the people that do it. So, for a fact, I believe we have to stop making climate change an activist crusade, a keyboard battle, or one of those Twitter hashtag movementist things, and actually start to treat it as a very serious concern for the existence of our species.
Mr. Derek, on the record, I wanted to tell you that in the next few days or months, I would like to see a Green Party organized by you, and I really wish you host me or you call me for that party. I will gladly be part of it.
Oh, it will be a pleasure.
Okay. To set a disclaimer, I have my water, which is in a plastic bottle, but just like Derek said, I will make sure I recycle this bottle very well, and it goes back so that it doesn't litter or disorganize our soil. Thank you so much. The last I would like to get from Alina as we are concluding is what's your conclusion? What's your take? Give us your words that you feel are necessary in the last words about climate change. Thank you so much.
You are welcome. In my last remarks, I would like to say it's very important that each one of us is doing something about climate change in a way of protecting the environment. Because definitely when you speak about climate change, there are very many people who will be like, so what should I do? What should I not do? But we have seen that climate change is happening in many ways, and everyone knows what wrong is happening in their environment, and everyone knows there's something they can do about it. So for us now to move from this point to the next, everyone needs to take responsibility and say, I am here, and this is what I think I can do to make sure I am doing my part. If everyone is doing that, we will have mitigated to a good level. So also, I would like to agree with the previous speaker that it needs to be incorporated into the politics of all the African countries, truly and really, because we need the awareness, which I think we do not have at this moment, especially in Africa. And then we also need to protect ourselves to make sure we don't reach those levels. As he said that we are not contributing too much, yet we are like the dumping ground. We are getting the damage on the deepest level. So we really have to make sure we protect ourselves and our countries.
Thank you so much. Derek, could you really give us your last words about climate change anyway? Thank you so much.
Well, I would say that, okay, this is just a brief preamble to this, that last year we had the September, August, October COP26 conference in Glasgow, Scotland. Just a few years ago we had a COP21. The fact that we had a COP26 means that we've had 26 summits talking about climate change. But
there is nothing that is
really
being implemented.
The COP21, for example, we had over 170 countries attending, and business people, policy analysts, all these change makers,
the influential people,
young people, and we are coming on a few years later and we are seeing global temperatures rising. And unless we can sit down and understand that we need to lower global temperatures by at least 2 degrees or 1.5 degrees in the year 2030, I believe we will not have achieved much from the COP26 of last year. As young people, as a community, as a globe, as a continent, we have to really understand this and push forward the agenda that was discussed in November last year.
Okay, thank you so much. Just like I told you, comment below this and you tell us what exactly you're doing, what exactly you have also done, and what you're willing to do to change the climate of the place, to change the climate of the world, of the country, wherever you are. And we shall really appreciate you for what you're doing, because we are not in this alone. We're not fixing Africa alone. We are all of us fixing Africa. This was your host, Simon. I love you so much. I love geopolitics. I love you guys that are watching and always fixing Africa. I love you people that are always watching us, funding us. You're always backing us. You're always doing everything to make sure that this movement is towards the right cause. Thank you so much. See you next week and remain blessed. Thank you.